With the re-release of Star Wars Jedi Power Battles, the game has seen various updates, not just graphically but also in the controls department. Whether you have the game already and you just want a refresher, or you're completely new, then this video may help you, because today we're going to be taking a look at the two control schemes featured in the game. First up, whether you're playing in the classic or the modern controls, something to know is that they cannot be customised fully. They are two preset control schemes that you can select, however not all of the controls are listed. You can't remap any of the buttons. And this goes for all systems: Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch and the PC. And the controls for all of these systems will be listed at the bottom of your screen as we go through them. To start with then, basic movement controls. Whichever character you select will run around the level by using the left stick on any of the consoles, and on PC that's either WASD or the arrow keys. Using the D-pad on any of the consoles, or using your regular movement control on PC but with the control key held, this will put your character into a walk. To block an attack, you'll be pressing either the left bumper, L1, L or Shift depending on your system. But please note that if you're blocking, you're unable to move. When being shot at, hit the block button and this will deflect the shot in a random direction, but pressing block at the right moment will deflect the shot back to where it came from, turning your block into an attack. You can lock onto a target by pressing the right bumper, R1, R or H depending on your system. This will focus your attention to one enemy. When locked onto an enemy, use the controls outlined earlier to run. Moving away from the enemy will do a backwards evasive dodge, while moving either side of them will do an evasive roll. You can toggle on and off the heads up display by pressing either view on the Xbox, touchpad on the PlayStation, the minus button on the Nintendo Switch, or T on your PC keyboard. While the PC has the same controls across both control schemes, the ones we've just mentioned are the ones that are the same across the control types on console. From this point on, I'll go through the default control scheme first, which is the modern one, but I'll also briefly cover the classic alternative in case you want to play using that control system. To jump, you'll be using the A button on the Xbox, X on the PlayStation and B on the Nintendo Switch. It's the spacebar for PC players. In the classic controls, jumping is slightly different. It's B on the Xbox, circle on the PlayStation and A on the Nintendo Switch. You can perform a double jump by pressing your assigned jump button for a second time while you're in the air. You'll need to use the double jump to get to certain ledges, and sometimes you'll end up hanging from them. If this is the case, just press your movement control in the direction of the ledge to climb up. There are three types of standard attack. Attack 1 is mapped to Y on the Xbox, triangle on the PlayStation, X on the Nintendo Switch and J on the PC keyboard. Classic controls see this change, where it's instead mapped to A on the Xbox, X on the PlayStation and B on the Switch. Attack 2 is the only attack that is the same across both control systems, and it's mapped to X on the Xbox, square on the PlayStation and Y on the Nintendo Switch. PC players have this attack assigned to K on the keyboard. Attack 3 is assigned to B on the Xbox, circle on the PlayStation and A on the Nintendo Switch. It's also assigned to the L key on the keyboard. The classic variant sees this attack assigned to Y on the Xbox, triangle on the PlayStation and X on the Switch. Of course, with these attacks, pressing any of the buttons in combination with each other will create a combo attack. There's no actual list for combo attacks in the game, but it's best to have a play around with them and see what combinations you can come up with. You can use the Force to defend oncoming attacks, and to do this you'll be using the left trigger and A on the Xbox, that's L2 and X on the PlayStation. Switch users will be using Z, L and B, and PC users will be pressing U on the keyboard. Classic variation of this is LB and B on the Xbox, L1 and circle on the PlayStation, and L plus A on the Switch. But that's defending using the Force, but you can also attack using the Force over a short range. This being left trigger and B on the Xbox, L2 and circle for PlayStation players, ZL and A for users on the Nintendo Switch, and PC players will be pressing I on the keyboard. The classic alternative is LB and Y for the Xbox, L1 and triangle for the PlayStation, and for the Switch it's L plus X. You can also attack using the Force over a longer distance, and to do this you'll be pressing LT and Y on the Xbox, L2 plus triangle on the PlayStation. Switch users will be using ZL plus X, and PC players will need to press the O key. If you're using the classic control scheme, again this is slightly different, and Xbox users will be using the left bumper and A, it's L1 and X for PlayStation, with the Switch being L plus B. One thing to add, on some levels you will be driving a vehicle, for example in level 8, Streets of Theed. With this one, when using the modern control system, use your normal run controls to move left or right across the screen. Pushing the left stick forward or backwards, or pressing the W or S key, or the up and down arrow key if you're playing on a PC, will tilt the vehicle forwards or backwards. Y on the Xbox, triangle on the PlayStation, X on the Switch, and O on the PC will speed the vehicle up, while X on the Xbox, square on the PlayStation, Y on the Switch, and also Y on the PC will brake. To shoot while you're in this vehicle, use the controls that are mapped to attack 3. In the classic controls, movement is controlled in exactly the same way. However, to speed up the vehicle, use A on the Xbox, X on the PlayStation, and B on the Switch. To slow down or brake, it's the same across both consoles. X on the Xbox, square on the PlayStation, and Y on the Switch. And to shoot, you'll be using Y on Xbox, triangle on PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch users will be using the X button. PC controls for vehicles are exactly the same over the two control systems. But that's not it for vehicles, you can also commandeer them. And to do this, make sure they don't have a driver in them already, and then press your jump key to get into them. You'll be using your normal run controls to move the vehicle, but be aware it's not camera aware. So move your left stick or press one of the arrow keys in the direction you intend to move. This is not necessarily the way you're facing. You can use the left or right bumpers, that's L1 or R1 on the PlayStation, or L and R on the Switch to move the vehicle turret. For the PC, it's O to move the turret to the left and H to move it to the right. You can still use all three methods of attack using the usual attack controls. You can also fire two different attacks at the same time by combining a normal attack with the turret. Finally, as you progress through each level, there's various things that you can pick up. These could be health items, but they could also be items that you can use against enemies. And to use these items, the button combination is the left trigger and X for the Xbox, L2 and square is the button combination for players on the PlayStation, ZL and Y is for the Nintendo Switch, and PC users will press Y on the keyboard. The classic alternative to using these items is the exact same face button, except the modifier button is different. For example, Xbox, this is the left bumper and X. For PlayStation, it's L1 instead of L2 plus square, and for the Switch, it's L plus Y. So that's all of the controls for Star Wars Jedi Power Battles. Hopefully this guide is useful to you and it isn't as confusing as it seems. As I mentioned, the controls are on your screen at various points, so you can refer to them if you need to. If this guide was useful to you, leave a like, drop a comment if you've got any questions, and feel free to share this video. Hopefully now you're all geared up and ready to wield that virtual lightsaber in Star Wars Jedi Power Battles.